Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I have an instructive and at the same time a bit of a mysterious game to share with you. On the white end, Hans Niemann playing against Engine Hikaru. So this is the hikaru-bot on chess.com. Now, when I was reviewing this game through the chess.com mobile app, in the archives on Hans's profile, it shows this game was played just before the July 11th, 2025 Freestyle Friday event. And in that event, Hans would go on to play the real Hikaru, win, as well as win the Freestyle Friday event. And I thought, well, playing against hikaru-bot just before the event certainly acted as a nice warm-up for the real Hikaru. Only later did I realize that the PGN to this game I'm about to share with you reads March 5th, 2024. I can't make heads or tails of those dates, why the game was populated where it was. Either way, the game I'm about to share with you was played. An interesting one, short, sweet, out of the Alekhine defense. E5, knight D5. If you're curious, the engine rating for hikaru-bot here, 2820. In this one, we do not see the 4 pawns attack. Exchange variation instead. Black going with E takes D. A couple more developing moves. Some time taken out to prevent bishop G4. Wants to preserve the knight. There we go, knight F3 without the pin. Castles, bishop D3, 2 moves directed at this bishop. No F5, no G4. Bishop F6, castles. And let me throw this one to you as a pop quiz. What move would you play here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, in the game, knight captures D4 is played. Computer says best is to throw rook on the open file. All right, let's see what the issue is going for this capture on D4, forcing the line coming up here. And in the end, the material is restored. Now, who stands better in the end? White. And let's see why. First of all, let's consider the pieces, pawns that were exchanged. Black's C6 knight exchanged for white's F3 knight. We also had black's dark square bishop exchanged for white's light square bishop. And the other detail, white's center pawn, a D pawn, was exchanged for black's H pawn, rook pawn. Now, normally, in a middle game position, the D pawn will be more valuable than a rook pawn, center pawn more valuable than a flank pawn. But there's more to factor in here. At the end of this line, the queen stands really well, and she's not easily challenged. Now, in this game, she is challenged, but that's not without its drawbacks. I'll be highlighting on those drawbacks soon enough. White stands better. There's more to factor in. Also, another way to look at it, consider the king safety. Black only has 2 pawns as shelter for the king. White has 3. And this bishop, unopposed, can be a real menace. Once positioned on the main diagonal, how are you going to tame that piece? If you have to play F6 one day, there's serious gaps all of a sudden on G6 and E6. No H pawn around to watch over G6. White stands better in the end. Not a good idea to invite that queen on this excellent central post. Now from here we see king G8, B3, sensible for 2 reasons. Queen is freed up from this defensive role, and the bishop is ready to go on the main diagonal. From here, C5 is played. The evaluation around here is a little bit more than +1. It's looking at bishop F5 in this position. All right, we see C5 in this one, and this is just considered a blunder. The big downside with C5, this guy. Backward, a target. And white is simply going to pinpoint it from here. Out of play knight, backward pawn in this position. Things are looking very good for white. And just completely under control at this stage. All the rooks are doing something now. One pair of rooks comes off. And now with queen f4, this point is a target. It's defended. Follow up, knight d5. They were competing for that d5 square, just going back here. As soon as one knight moves, the other one hops in. Now there's a square given up after knight d5. Rook e2 can now be played. Bishop takes a step up. From here, bishop g6, queen f3, rook captures a2. Pop quiz. How would you respond here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, there is a very nice intersection square for white in this position. Queen, bishop, knight all converge on f6, and that's frequently where we see a trick, and we see just that in this game. Knight f6, landing this massive fork. In the game, king h8 is played. Here's the thing, if you take the knight, black will be getting mated very soon. This is a monster bishop supporting two mates. The only way to prevent mate 1 is to try to run, but black will not run too far. You get cut off. And this is one way you might see the game end from here. Queen h8. And you have your pick which piece you want to put on g7 in this position for checkmate. I'm going with the bishop. Okay, how it plays out in this game, we see king h8 and then the typical finish. Once you're up, a ton of material, nothing special at this stage. Some silly sacrifices and then just smashing through in the end. Yeah, this monster bishop still around, paving the way for queen g7 ball game. Anyhow, your thoughts with this one? Feel free as usual to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. Hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care. Bye.